All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Thursday, January 2nd. We got a 6-game NBA slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, absolutely free down in the pinned comment. Make sure to keep an eye on that. In terms of yesterday, hey, we'll take a little bit of a cha-ching here. We had a 5-1 night last night. Now, albeit two of those wins were quarter unit plays, or a couple of them were quarter unit plays. So it's more or less like a 3-1 night. But overall, we did hit some nice plus money plays, like a plus 164 same game parlay. We had big Vooches over in rebounds for plus 125. So you know what? We shall take it. Our 1L, and we kind of took our chances here. I liked the over in the Jazz and Knicks, and even if you watch back yesterday's video, I was like, Brunson may not play. I don't know. That's a big point score for them. They come up a few points shy. Brunson did not play, so we took the risk, and yeah, we faced the what comes of a risk there, I guess. But nonetheless, not going to cry over a night that was more green than it was red. Unfortunately, speaking of red, we got to drop the womp womp on my man DM here. He had Karl-Anthony Towns under 3.5 assists. I liked this spot. Karl-Anthony Towns had hit the under in this line plenty of games in a row. He even says he's a ball hog. He's not going to pass. He really didn't pass all that much, but he did finish with 4 assists. Karl-Anthony Towns yesterday's stat line was 31, 4, and 21. So he had 21 rebounds, 31 points, 4 assists. So he just went off. He's having an unbelievable year, obviously. But yeah, we did not catch the ride of the day win there. But Happy New Year to DM. He did say that in the message. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, it's simple. Just use that hashtag ride of the day. Give me your favorite play on the board. I jump on board with one person's play each and every day. You get a shout out in tomorrow's video. You get a shout out on my Twitter/X. You get a shout out over on the Guy Boston Sports site with the final plays. So make sure to drop that hashtag ride of the day in there. It's got to be inside -150 so everyone can jump on board. If you do win, we continue to ride with your plays over and over again. You continue to get the shout out until you lose. If you lose, like my man here had to go through, you do got to face the womp womp. But get those hashtag ride of the days in there. Let's make sure to jump into this one fully. I love this slate here. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's get rocking. We're started off with what probably is going to be a good game. Now, we'll start with the injury report here because there are a few things to note on the Celtics side of things. Jaylen Brown and Kristaps Porzingis both listed as game time decisions. Not probable, not doubtful, but right in the middle there, game time decision, which is like almost the worst spot to be in, right? Because two guys that are obviously going to drastically change this one. So right now, Minnesota at home getting 4 points. I've seen some 4.5s out there, so keep your eyes out for those if you are on the Minnesota side of things. I'm a Celtics fan. I don't think this is a biased pick. I am going to be looking at the Celtics. The Celtics have lost outright 3 of their last 4 games. It's about time they turn things around here. They've been a pretty damn bad ATS team all year long, but that's because they have a bunch of high numbers, right? Like they're laying 8 points, 9 points, 10 points, that type of thing. I do think that they come in here and they are the better team. Now, you flip to the Minnesota side of things, they're not playing like any better basketball, realistically. Maybe as of late, you can make the argument they've won 3 of their last 4, only losing to OKC, one of the best teams in the league. So I get that. But both teams 5-5 in their last 10. Celtics 3-7 ATS. Minnesota 4-6. So at this point, I'm just gonna say that the talent rises. This is all with the, I guess, the caveat that Jaylen Brown plays. I still like this even if Porzingis doesn't play. If he does play, I think that's a massive add. But everything I say here is with the assumption that Jaylen gets run here, because I think this team, obviously, they can do the next man up mentality and guys fill in. They're such a good team. But 2 guys you never want to see injured, especially for long-term winning, Jaylen and Jason, right, on this squad. So give me the Celtics -4. I think that they're going to be able to, match what Minnesota has done defensively this year. Both teams cover the perimeter really, really well. The Celtics and Minnesota have struggled at times in the paint, but at the rim, the Celtics over the last 10 games have at least been fairly good, a 58.9% field goal percentage against. So yes, they're allowing decent amount of points in the paint, but if you get deeper into the paint, aka at the rim inside the restricted area, they've actually kind of shored up their defense a little bit here. So I like that spot for them. I think that they'll probably end up winning the rebound battle as well, which will be good overall, especially if Porzingis plays. So it's a narrow margin, but I like the idea of snagging the Celtics at -4 before it moves to like 5 and 4.5, 5 throughout the day. So give me the Celtics. Try not to be biased, but who knows? Sometimes it's always in there. In terms of the total, I don't mind an under. Now, with these two teams, they have so many stars, and Celtics in particular, but you throw Anthony Edwards, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum on the court at the same time. Throw in Julius Randle, Kristaps Porzingis, Derek White, those types of guys in as well. It's tough to take an under, but one thing is, one, those guys are damn good defenders, and two, yes, I already mentioned it. Both of these teams love to shoot the three ball and score a lot from three. Well, you have the number 3 team in Minnesota in terms of points allowed from the perimeter so far this season, going up against the number 4 team in terms of points allowed. So both, yes, they like to shoot the three, but both are phenomenal at defending the three-point line, which is where they're going to try and score from. So yeah, it's kind of crazy to take an under. I get it with all of those names that I already mentioned on the floor, but overall, I think it's a decent spot for both defenses to shine. Now, I will say, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this is my favorite play in the game. It's definitely got a good chance of cashing here. I'm going to take a peek, and we'll jump into the Outlier screen. By the way, guys, Outlier 7-day trial link down in the description. No code needed. Just use that link. 7 days free. It's an absolute game changer of a tool. But I like Jrue Holiday here, over 14.5 points plus assists. He's cashed this in 63% of the games so far this year, and 57 of his road games so far this year. If Jaylen Brown does not play, okay, he still cashed it in 3 of the 5 games, right? So that's not going to hurt us all that much. Games without Kristaps Porzingis, 72% of games, so love that. And then one thing I want to note is last time he played Minnesota, right, which was this season in that 107-105 game, he had 9 points and 3 assists. Okay, that's telling. Okay, he only had 3 assists, right? We go down to his potential assists. He had 11 potential assists. 11 potential assists. Usually guards are cashing this at a 50 potential assist, aka when you could have gotten an assist, like that you pass it to a guy and he takes a spot up jumper and he misses, or he takes a couple dribbles and pulls up and misses, that type of thing. He had 11 potential assists, right? Usually guards are hitting their assist line at a nearly, I would say, 45 to 50% clip. Like you could see here, 6 potential assists, he had 4 assists. 14 potential assists, he had 6 assists. He had 11 potential assists, only 3 assists. He hit it at a 25% rate. He should have more assists than that if he gets that many potential assists. Again, I don't mind his assists at over 3.5 either, at plus 124. But the points, if Jaylen doesn't play, I could see Jrue Holiday being able to score to some degree. And if we look at our dashboard here, you can see Minnesota not all that tremendous at preventing the point guard position, allowing plenty of assists over the last 7 games and allowing a decent amount of threes. So yeah, Jrue Holiday, like I said, it might be kind of crazy to throw out a guy that's been up and down for the Celtics. I mean, mostly up in terms of off the scorecard or off the stat sheet type of thing, but he's had some weird games where he just can't score and all that. I think this might be my favorite play in the game, so keep an eye on the final plays to see if we do lock that in. And I will say apologies for talking about that game for so long. I am a Celtics fan. Comes with the territory. All right, next up we have Miami taking on Indiana. I'll jump right out and say this is not the easiest of one for me to really make up my mind on. We do have 2 spots that we like to some degree, but just telling you right now, it's not my most confident play on the board here. Miami's on a back-to-back. They cashed for us yesterday. We had the Tyler Hero 20-plus points and Miami money line same game parlay. That cashes as Miami wins 119-108. Indiana has lost 3 of their last 4 games, but listen to this gauntlet they've gone through. OKC, Boston, both those games in Boston. They did actually win one of those as 10-point dogs outright, so good for them. And Milwaukee, right? So they've had a fairly tough schedule here as of late, but they're not playing the best of basketball, right? I think this is a spot in which, well, one, by the way, we saw these 2 teams already play a couple times this year. They played twice in 3 days and split, both in Indiana. First one, Miami won 124-111, and then Indiana won 119-110. So I think that this is a spot in which you could consider Indiana. No major injuries. Neesmith is out for them. Terry Rozier out still in this one for the Heat due to the fact that he should be eligible to come back, if I'm not mistaken, right after his suspension for the Amen Thompson thing. So maybe he does play. Overall, though, you still have Richardson listed as out. So fairly healthy. But Miami, I did mention, we cashed them last night. They are on a back-to-back here. Indiana, with rest advantages this season, are hitting, in terms of covering, at a 60% clip. This could be a spot to look for the underdog. If Indiana ups the pace, I don't think Miami keeps up with them, especially on a second night of the back-to-back. So I'll lean towards Indiana and the over. If you're on Miami, you're probably preferring the under because this is a spot in which Miami, key to success this year for them has been limiting opponents. You look at the games in which they're able to win, it's because they hold their opponents, to 105-ish. When they lose, it's because they're allowing 125 to the Pistons, allowing 121 to Orlando, allowing 120 to Atlanta. Those are some of their recent losses, right? But when they do win, it's 108, 100, 88, 95, 104, 104 in terms of points against. Well, Indiana, in their last 10 games here, they've been scoring a lot more than that 105 mark. 112, 120, 105 against Boston, 114, 111, 122, 120, 119, 121, 109. So I do think Indiana has a little bit of offensive ability in them in the two games against, obviously, the Heat so far this year. It was 111 and 119. So I don't think Miami has that sort of going for them right now that they can keep up in these high-scoring games. So I'll lean towards Indiana as well as an over. Indiana on the money line right now, you're getting plus money, right? Plus 108. So maybe it's a decent look. Now, in terms of player props, I'll tell you a couple spots that I would consider, but I don't know if I'm going to be jumping into. I like the idea of Bam Adebayo, maybe points plus rebounds, or those individually. I've also kind of considered the idea of looking at the guards for Miami again from the perimeter, because this is not the best of defenses for Indiana. So I'd kind of target those spots, but it might just be Indiana or Indiana team total over or pass for me in this one. All right, next up, OKC taking on the Clippers. This Thunder team on a little bit of a streak. They've won 9 of their last 10 games, 7-2-1 ATS. They have been really good at home this year, but they've just been good overall, right? So far this season at home, they've covered in 64.3% of games, which is good. You do throw in the fact that the Clippers have covered in nearly, almost 56% over 56% of their away games. That's great, but like I said, the Thunder kind of on a roll here. Now, they haven't played the toughest of schedules, but they've won 7 games straight. Orlando, Miami, Washington, Indiana, Charlotte, Memphis, Minnesota. Like I said, not the hardest of schedules, whereas the Clippers have played a decently, I don't even want to say hard schedule. They've played Utah, San Antonio, New Orleans, Golden State, Memphis, Dallas twice. So I guess I can't really make the argument I'm trying to portray here, but overall, I still would say OKC's playing better basketball, but throw in the fact that they're a really good team playing against some mediocre-ish teams. 9.5 points does seem like it's a lot here, but I can't necessarily sit here and tell you that this is a good spot for the Clippers. The Clippers have been a team that likes to take it into the paint and score from the paint this year and in the last 10 games in particular, right? This is an OKC team that is number 1 across the board in the paint in the restricted area in terms of points allowed, meaning they allow the fewest. And we saw, them show that they are the better team in a couple games already this year. 105-92 win against them back in November. And then also in November, a couple weeks later, they won 134-128. So yes, a low-scoring game and a high-scoring game here. I'm going to lean towards the under. I think that's how the Clippers can contribute towards this game. But I don't think that I can sit here and say that I like the Clippers plus the 9.5 points. I'm going to lean Thunder minus the 9.5. I could see a double-digit win here, but like I did mention, I do like the under. I've already seen this down at 218.5, 218 in some places. We're seeing 219 still out there. That's probably where I would want to nab it. So yeah, I'm going to lean towards an under. I do think this Clippers team has a chance to keep it close, but the way the Thunder have been playing, I just can't really get behind it. Now, player prop wise, I do like the spot here. We're looking at a plus money spot for Ivica Zubac here, over 13.5 rebounds. You can see he had 14 last time he played OKC on 19 rebound chances. This season, he's only hit the over here in 33% of games. That's great, but he's averaging 20.2 rebound chances. And if he's going to play a decent amount of minutes here, let's give him, 31 minutes played. His rebound chances go up to 22. You can see over his last 5 games playing that amount of minutes, he's averaging, 15.2 rebounds for plus the 135. That's very, very crucial here. I do not mind him going out there and getting, 14 rebounds. He's going up against the second worst team in terms of rebounding this season. Against the center, they are a little bit better, especially with, Hartenstein being one of the guys down there. He's a little bit more of a brute than, say, Chet Holmgren, right? But overall, I still do think Zubac could get a decent amount of rebounds, but just know, I want to make it explicitly clear, right, that we are saying that in a plus 135 flyer type of a sense. Do you know what I mean? It's not always like when we talk about it or like the spot. It's just that it's not like I'm saying it's a lock or anything like that. What I'm saying is that I think there's a better chance of him hitting that than the plus 135 would indicate, which means I kind of deem some value on that one. But again, this game kind of has me feeling a couple different ways about it. So we'll see. Keep an eye on the final plays. I know the comments, the haters, the guppies will be like, well, why are you even talking about it if you don't have a strong take on it? Because it's the format of the show. For like 4 years now, we've talked about every single game, every day. So yeah, it is what it is. Excuse me for talking about sports. All right, tons of injuries to note in this one just to keep an eye on. here. We have Milwaukee 14-point favorites over Brooklyn. Brooklyn did play last night, so that's obviously a factor to be considered. In no rest situations though this year, they've covered in 66.7% of their games, so I guess that is worth noting. Last time these two teams played, which wasn't all that long ago, we did see a Brooklyn win 111-105. That said, we did not see Giannis play in that one, and I want to say Damian Lillard didn't play either, right, if I'm not mistaken. So obviously that's a little bit of a difference maker. No kidding, right? So we do have a 14-point spread. That's a pretty damn big number, but the way Milwaukee likes to play is getting into the paint. Brooklyn has not been all that phenomenal at stopping that, and Milwaukee has actually gotten a lot better. In fact, they're taking a lot more too at scoring from deep, whereas Brooklyn at one point, this season, they've been good at stopping points in the paint and good at stopping points in the perimeter. That defense is starting to dwindle away, so I like Milwaukee here to be able to hit a bunch of threes and probably pull away from this to some degree. Now, the way that I would end up playing this is probably looking at a team total over for Milwaukee. And if my memory serves me correct, last time these two teams matched up, we took Milwaukee's team total over, and it didn't cash. But if Giannis plays and Damian Lillard play, I like the spot here. Now, we do have Chris Middleton listed as questionable and Giannis, but Giannis is listed as probable here, so I think it could be a spot. And Cam Thomas also may be playing tonight as well. He didn't play Wednesday against the, who do they play there? The Raptors, right? They didn't play in that game. He could be playing tonight on the second night of a back-to-back here, so he could give them a little bit of fresh life, and he's the type of guy that could up the pace a little, helping Milwaukee's team total over. So that's the way that I would probably spin it. In fact, if we can get an idea of what we have for a team total, we can use Outlier here to find that. Another great, it's not just good for player props, right? We go into the game, we go into team points, and you're looking at, okay, anywhere, yeah, I mean, you're paying a lot of juice for the 115.5, but I don't mind the idea of them going out there and scoring, 117 or something like that. The problem is, look at the hit rates. They've been pretty damn bad, right? But Giannis has been banged up, and I do think the pace of this game could up a little bit. So give me the Milwaukee team total over as well as the over. And then in terms of player props, I already kind of mentioned it, right? I like the idea of targeting guys that are going to shoot from deep for this Milwaukee team. So obviously, big name that jumps to that is going to be Damian Lillard. I don't mind an idea of Brook Lopez, maybe AJ Green, that type of thing. In fact, AJ Green obviously plays, a little bit less when Chris Middleton is good to go and when Dame's good to go. I don't think we have lines for him right now, but that could be a nice value spot. Brook Lopez, in terms of his threes, is still going to be sitting at 1.5, and that's for plus money today. He's been good to this line, right? And last time he played this Brooklyn team, which was, again, just about a little less than a week ago, a little more than a week ago, he had 4 threes against them. I like the idea of targeting that. Brook Lopez, 1.5 threes so far this year, 56% of games. He's been crushing as of late. Look at him in the last 10 games here. Definitely a spot that I could consider, especially for the plus money odds. Maybe that's a peak that we take right there, Brook Lopez. And one player prop that we just cannot miss. Now, he's playing tomorrow, but this promo is good for 2 days over on Underdog, guys. Victor Wembanyama, 0.5 points. It's running tonight as well as tomorrow for his matchup. So you have 2 days to get this one in. If you are not a member of Underdog yet and you have not signed up and downloaded the app or used it on your computer, you are missing out on 1, a free pick here for Wembanyama, and 2, up to $1,000 in a deposit bonus, which is absolutely amazing. This is available in most states as well. If you aren't aware of what it is a DFS player app in which you combine 2, 3, 4, 5, however many picks you want into your entry. The more you win of that, the more you do get paid out. So it's really, really cool, guys. I will be posting an Underdog slip on my Instagram today at evpicks, picks with a Z, so EVPICKZ. If you do want to follow me there, and new users can add this one right in there and boost that payout. So go ahead and check out Underdog, guys. That link will be down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. You do not need to use a code or anything like that because that link will automatically apply the code. But if you want to, go out there, just get Underdog on your phone yourself and download and deposit. Use code GUYBOSTON, GUYBOSTON, spelling bee champ, if you do want to do that, because that's how you manually apply the code. But again, if you just use the link down below, by the way, on my Instagram, if you do use the link down below, it'll auto-apply that code and you'll get all of the benefits. So go ahead and check out Underdog, guys. You will not regret it if you do sign up. All right, Warriors taking on Philadelphia. There is a lot to sort of, I guess, mentioned injury-wise in this one. So before you go running and liking a line or liking something in this one, make sure you do check the injuries because you have Kelly Oubre listed as doubtful. I think he's going to be out. Joel Embiid listed as questionable. You have McCain listed as questionable. You flip it over to the Warriors side of things. Podziemski out. Gary Payton Jr. out. Steph Curry questionable. Anderson game time decision. Draymond Green probable. So it's like a lot of guys that do get a lot of run for these two teams listed as questionable or out or anything like that. So do make sure I guess you do your best to keep up with that injury report. This Warriors team hasn't been playing the best of basketball, right? They are 1-5 in their last 1-4 in their last 5 games here. Against the number in their last 10, they've only covered in 3. Philadelphia has won 7 of their last 10. They've had some good wins in there, some bad losses. But overall, I do think that, they're playing decent basketball. And Embiid's going to, if he does play, I do think that gives him a little bit of elevation. But this seems like it's going to be a spot in which everyone's going to probably be like, oh, well, yeah, let me jump to the Sixers because the Warriors have been playing so bad and that type of thing. But I still think the Warriors, maybe even on the money line today, could be the spot if Steph plays. Like getting a Sixers team that has been so inconsistent this year, seems like it's a good spot to take them because you look at this and you're like, oh yeah, well, they've been playing better basketball. Well, they beat Utah. They beat Portland. They lost to Sacramento. They have 2 wins in their last 10 against Charlotte. They haven't really been beating good teams. The question is really, well, is Golden State a good team? And right now I would say no, but they've had to play the Clippers. They played Cleveland within the last week. So I think that they've had maybe a bad hand being dealt. Maybe I'm just looking for a reason to think Golden State's okay. Even Steph Curry was like, as the kids say, we're mid right now. So maybe that's the spot in which you maybe stay away from them. But I'm almost thinking the contrary in the room. Let me sit here and be like, yeah, well, maybe that's a spot to buy low on Golden State. If you do like the Sixers, obviously you probably like the fact that Embiid could be playing and all that. But one thing that you should probably note is that they're good at defending the perimeter. Where's Golden State going to want to shoot from? The perimeter. So that is the thing you can keep in your back pocket to like the Sixers, right? But you can flip that right on its head. Golden State, in terms of where they're good defensively, is in the paint. 4th fewest points in the paint allowed this season. Philadelphia is loving taking shots at the rim. So if Golden State can be strong down there and kind of hold up, I don't necessarily think that Philadelphia is going to have the easiest time scoring overall. So I'm going to lean towards the Warriors as well as the under. From a player prop perspective, way too many injuries for me to be in on anything as of right now. If we find anything, I'll add it in with the final plays and give you a little blurb as to why. All right, Lakers taking on Portland. Sounding the psycho alert alarm here. I could see a path to Portland today. Now, do I have the cojones to roll with it myself? Not necessarily, but I'll tell you, I'm not all that big on the Lakers laying 8.5 points. I've seen some bigger numbers out there as well. Anthony Davis might not play. If he does, obviously that adds to the Lakers type of thing. But this Portland team, they've been up and down this season. One thing that they go up and down with, but kind of stay somewhat up, is being able to play well in the paint. And the Lakers cannot stop a nosebleed at the paint defensively. And offensively, that's where they're going to try and score some. Portland, over the last 3 games, number 2 team in terms of points allowed in the paint, as well as the number 12 team overall, number 10 on the road this season. So they've been a viable paint defense, when healthy, I guess I should say, down below. And this is a Lakers team that is not scoring a lot of threes, not taking that many threes. Could you say that, with the trade they've made with D'Angelo Russell and whatnot, they've looked okay, and Austin Reeves taking a huge passing load and stuff like that? Yeah, I think that that's definitely going to help them, but throw in the fact that we could see no Anthony Davis, there goes a lot of paint presence offensively and defensively for the Lakers. Could be a spot here where we look at Portland. I sounded the psycho alert alarm again. We'll drop it one more time here. I think this could be a Portland spot, especially if you can get a bigger number, I would say, than this 8.5. I've seen 9.5s out there, so maybe Anthony Davis is getting, looked at and ruled in that we've missed since recording, right? Because that's a decent jump in the last hour and a half or so. But overall, Portland, double digit, just keep it to single digits. Maybe we stretch it, get an 11.5. Again, the whole thing is do we have the cojones to be like, boom, we're rolling with Portland against the Lakers at home? Not sure, because this Portland team has stunk out loud on the road this year, and the Lakers have been very good at home. It's like we're taking the two opposites of where the situation really favors these two. But overall, Portland or nothing for me in this one, and I also don't mind a slight lean towards the under. I don't think Portland's offense is going to be all that great, and Lakers have been a fairly efficient offense this year, but if you take away what their bread and butter is, which is scoring in the paint, we could be looking at a nice spot there for them to not score that many points. So I'll lean towards an under here as well. In terms of what I'm looking at of a player prop, there's just one that I would consider, and we'll go through it here on the screen, kind of real time. DeAndre Ayton is over in points is something that I would look at. So DeAndre DeAndre Ayton points right now, 14.5. He's hit it in 6 of his last 10. Against the Lakers, he's kind of hovered right around that number. Last time he played here, 14 points, so he missed out on it. Played a lot of minutes. He shot 50% from the field. In terms of what he's shooting so far this season, you can see he's shooting nearly 60% from the field. So if he just plays a little bit better, then sure, that could look good. Lakers, kind of soft to centers, opposing centers so far this year, so that could be a spot. Now, if Ayton does get the minutes, say he plays 30 minutes, right? Look at what he's been doing. But because of blowouts, because he's been injured, he hasn't played all that, but 12 of his 16 games that he gets 30 minutes in. One of those games, obviously, that he didn't end up cashing would be against the Lakers, where he played 34 minutes and didn't end up coming through already this season. So hopefully, with more minutes comes more success from him, because he's been cashing. Let's look at 31 minutes. He's averaging 17.3. So yeah, no Anthony Davis could be a decent spot for DeAndre Ayton overall. But guys, as always, keep an eye on the final plays if you are interested in what we're rolling with. All this information we give out and do is what I love to do, talk about sports, give you my opinion. But if you are interested in whether you're fading or riding, all those final plays absolutely free will be down in the pinned comment, taking you to the Guy Boston Sports site if you are interested in what I'm actually rolling with myself type of thing. But again, it's just, the way we do things. I love talking about each and every game, even if we don't have the strongest opinion. You can tell sometimes we do have a strong opinion, right? But it is just what we do. But hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure to go ahead and comment 25. You made it over 25, nearly 26 minutes into the video. And like I tell you guys all the time, I do truly, truly appreciate it. I love doing the comment if you made it this far. I say it all the time, but for the new ones watching, I say that all the time because it tells me who's sticking through. Obviously, I make these videos with the intention of everyone listening to every single word and every single breath. You know what I mean? It's that's not the case. I know people skip around and all that, but the people that are catching this at the end, at least you made it deep into the video, and that truly does mean the world, because you're choosing to spend your time listening to me, which I do truly, truly appreciate. I'm probably not making any sense here, but just know I do truly appreciate it if you made it this far in the video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.